Hey YouTube, thank you guys so much for joining. This is Koya, the owner, and I'm so excited to talk about this today. There's so many different things that I could put in this video on what not to do as a new real estate investor. However, I'm just going to focus on these first few today. But first things first, make sure that you like, share, comment, and subscribe. Being a real estate investor is hard. I know a lot of people think that it's passive income by doing wholesaling or flipping houses, but it's hard. And honestly, it's nothing passive about it. If you watch a lot of different other real estate videos from bigger platforms such as Bigger Pockets and a variety of other people, you would definitely learn that it's nowhere near easy. And there is so many different headaches and fires that you will find yourself putting out. But by not doing these few things, I definitely think it will help make things easier for you starting out. The first thing that I have here that I would not do as a new real estate investor is partnerships. I would make sure that my own credit is good, that my own finances is good before I do any type of partnerships, unless you're married. If you're married, of course, that's something different. But even prior to marriage, if it's just your boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever, I would make sure that my own credit is good to make sure that I can buy the house or that I can afford the home before I get into any type of entanglements or no, really, but partnerships with anyone. There's so many different things that could go wrong with the property, and adding someone in that you have not conducted business with on that level just makes it 20 times worse. I know for my husband and I, we have worked on one property together. Prior to us getting married, I had properties and he also owned a property as well, but I already had knowledge of the various different things that can go wrong. So it did help alleviate some of that pressure for my husband. Like, one thing that ended up going wrong on a home that we did together was it was a triplex, and someone came in and stole the different pipes, the copper wire. And that's something that is big in our town, unfortunately, in different areas. And that's big where, I mean, I hate to be like crackheads, but crackheads are doing this. They're getting this to get drugs. I don't know if it's crackheads, it could be a lot of different people, but that's what I say. But they're doing this to get drugs. Honestly, that's the only thing I can think of why they would be risking their life to steal the copper wiring out of a house, because it's deadly. You could really kill yourself. But anyways, they went in, stole our copper wiring. This caused different areas of the home not to be able to function. Whenever you steal copper wiring can be used for a multitude of things. Your HVAC system, it's a lot of different things it could be used for. So when they stole this and they cut all the different wires up, we had to add that into our budget that we did not foresee doing. We didn't think that we would have to actually buy copper wiring and have it installed and have it all connected. That wasn't something we foreseen. So, in a partnership, if both of you all are new to real estate and something like that happens, that was like an additional $1,000 to $2,000 that we had to pay for. And if you're brand new to real estate, something like that happens, that's like a blow up, like $1,000 to $2,000 when you have already maybe put in 20,000 or 5,000 or 10,000. It just feels like you're just throwing money everywhere at this point. So I wouldn't do any partnerships where it's going to be any additional headaches. If you do a partnership, I would be married, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Because even if you're partnering with someone that knows more than you do, that's good and all, but that person can easily scam you out of money. I've heard of that plenty of times where one person was a novice, the other person knew a lot, and they ended up being scammed out of money because, we're all paying. If we don't know something, you're still going to be paying money even if you don't know. So I wouldn't do it. All right, the second thing that I wouldn't do as a new real estate investor is I would not do a investment property where I would have to pay 20 to 25% down, meaning I would not do any type of an investment property loans. I would live in the property first, either flipping it by living in it for 2 years or doing a FHA 203K or conventional loan and doing a house hack where you are living in one unit, renting out the other unit, because with the FHA loan as well as the conventional loan, you can buy anywhere from 1 to 4 units. So you can buy a quadplex and be able to use 3.5 to 5% down using an FHA or conventional loan. I would not go putting 20 to 25% down. I would make sure that I could put the littlest amount down as possible. If you're in the Army, I would use your VA loan. You're getting started in this. You do not need to be putting a fortune of money down, because you need to use as much money and have as much money saved up for when things go wrong, because it's not if, it's when. Something wrong is going to happen with the property. It's not a thing where it's like, oh my goodness, like, no, that's not possible, I'm gonna do this and this. Especially if you're renting it out, tenants are destructible. They have kids, they have pets, they have their mama that just came over for a holiday weekend, and now the mom is staying there for like 3 weeks, and the mama is doing all of this damage. It wasn't them. It's so many things that could go wrong, right? So, I would make sure that you have so much in reserve and you're not using all of your money as a down payment towards the home. There are different ways where, if you have it structured in your loan by using that large down payment, you could pay down points, or you could have it go towards the interest rate of the home. But honestly, the interest rate, none of that matters, because you could always refinance later. So if you can't afford the monthly payments by the current interest rate it is, and you're wanting to use all of this money to put down on it, you just don't need to buy the home. If you can't afford it, don't buy it. I still would not put 20 to 25% and not have any savings. Now, if you just got it like that, where you got the savings to put, buy just an investment property where you can put 20 to 25% down and still be able to afford to fix it up and still be able to afford your own home wherever you're living at, then perfect. But I would only start as an investor if you are living in the home first and you're living in it for 2 years if you're going to be flipping it, and you're living in it for a year if you're going to be doing a house hack, such as living in one unit if it's a duplex or a triplex or a quadplex, and renting out the other units. You can live in it just for a year. That's what legally is required. You live in it for a year, then you rent it out. Now you got a quadplex and you have all 4 units rented out, since you're now able to move out after staying in it for a year. I wouldn't go putting 20 to 25% down. I also would not do any renovation without doing an FHA 203K or a conventional home rehab loan. These are like training wheels to beginning a contractor relationship, to learning how to do renovations effectively. These are great tools as a beginning real estate investor. So with the conventional home rehab loan, you have to put at least 5% down. And with the FHA 203K loan, you only have to put 3.5% down. There's a lot of different things that you can do to make sure that you're able to get started on this process using those 2 different loans. The first thing I would do with using those loans is I would personally buy a duplex, triplex, or quadplex, fix it up, live in one unit, rent out the other. That's what I did starting out. But say you don't want to do that. Say you would prefer to buy a house. You could use a FHA 203K loan, 3.5% down, buy the house, tell the loan people how you want to fix it up. You tell the loan people how you want to fix it up. They approve the contractor, because the contractor has to be a licensed contractor. They're going to pull all the licensing to make sure the contractor's licensed. And now, instead of you paying that contractor, it's going to be the lender paying that contractor. And why it's a good buffer for you is because, say that contractor doesn't do the work. Say you might have a contractor that's a friend, a cousin, a brother that's like, oh no, I can do this, I can do that, and they're not licensed. So they're not licensed, they're doing electrical work, and now having electrical work done by someone that doesn't know how to do any type of electrical, but they're saying they know how to do it, and now you could possibly die from an electrical fire. I know that sounds crazy and it's so far-fetched, but that can happen. Versus if you was to go through FHA 203K or the conventional home rehab loan, they're going to make sure the contractor's licensed, And not only that, they're going to make sure you're not getting ripped off by the contractor, because if the contractor does not do the work, they will not be getting paid. Versus you, brand new, you might just pay the contractor $10,000, and you're like, oh my goodness, this ain't done, this ain't that ain't done, because you're doing it wrong. You have paid the contractor first before the work is done, and you have paid them too much. You don't pay contractors too much. Contractors are, I love my contractors, but they're not the most efficient when it comes to doing things. They're using your money to work on another job and using the next job's money to work on another job, and it's a mess. Let them do the work first, then pay them. And if you use a FHA 203K or a conventional home rehab loan, where they will give you the money for the house plus the renovation, they're going to make sure that the work is done. They're going to make sure that contractor is licensed. They're going to make sure that everything is squared away and everything is solid before they actually pay the contractor. So I definitely recommend that. The last thing, well, no, not the last, but second to last thing that I would not recommend my new real estate investors to do is hiring a property manager. I've been doing real estate investing for the last 3 to 4 years. I don't feel like I'm new, but I don't feel like I'm fully an expert quite yet, but I feel like I'm right in the middle. And I've hired property managers. I've hired 2, and both times I felt like I was ripped off and I felt like I have a dislikeness for both companies. When you're hiring property managers as a beginning real estate investor, you're not really familiar of the processes of real estate enough to hire a property manager. Some people do it with the first tenant that they have. And, I've just found that when you're hiring these property managers, a lot of times they're not good at their jobs either. It's really hard to find a good property manager. You will notice within your real estate profession that a lot of real estate investors have hard times with finding great property managers. They're just kind of hard to come by, just like great contractors. But yeah, I wouldn't hire a property manager. I would get, your foot wet and, get in, learn how to conflict resolution with the tenant, learning how to talk with the tenant, learning the real estate laws for yourself, learning these things, because if you don't learn these things and you're just depending on the property manager, you're allowing anything that could happen for your business, and you will never know. You would just be like, oh my goodness, like, what, like, I don't know if this is the right way for them to do this or what. Like, am I tripping? Like, it's and it's just that you're ignorant of the policies and procedures of your state guidelines of landlord and tenant laws. If you go in, read your landlord and tenant laws by managing your own properties, knowing what's right, knowing what you can and can't do with these tenants, then a property manager can't get over you on anything. They can't say, hey, no, we have to do this. No, you don't, because the law says this is what has to happen. So why hasn't it happened? You just gotta know your stuff. All right, and the last and final thing is to always have a lease and to always have security deposits or a move-in fee, either one. And make sure when you have those things, make sure that it's the same as first month's rent. I have found that I had a tenant that I did not do a security deposit for, and there's substantial damage to the property. I had another tenant that I did a security deposit for, but it was nothing. It was barely anything. And there was also substantial damage to the property. And I'm coming out of pocket for it. And, it's just a lesson learned. It really is. It's a lesson learned. You have to run things like a business, and you have to run things for the benefit of you. You cannot be nice. I've tried to be nice. I've I've done different things for tenants, and it has always came back to bite me. I go to different real estate investing meetings, and I hear other real estate investors talk about what they do, and I'm like, oh my goodness, they just seem so harsh. I don't want to do that. And honestly, I see exactly why they're harsh. It's very hard to be in the service business and be nice to people, because people take advantage. They really do. They take advantage, and then, whenever you call them out for taking advantage, they try to call you out for this and that. Like, you're not gonna win in that type of in that type of way. So the best bet is just to go ahead and start right. Have your lease, have you a lease that you either use. Apartments.com is one that's good, but going to a lawyer is the top thing I would recommend. Going to your local lawyer, and yeah, it may cost some money. You may have to pay anywhere between $100 to $500, but this is a business where spending the money is the best bet. Sorry. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining in. Again, this is Koi, the owner. Make sure you guys let me know what you think. That's it.